To close today's Leaders Majlis program, we're going to invite our next speaker, Fينيسا Abou Sleiman, the founder and the CEO at the Communicator Lab.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, it's a pleasure to welcome you, Fينيسا. Fيnيsa is a leading voice in communication and leadership, working with organizations and individuals to shape how ideas are delivered, how they're understood, but also how they're experienced. Hey, Fينيsa, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I want you to take us way back to the beginning, step one. And if you can go back to that moment, what is something that you would change?
All right. So, in the beginning, the idea of my business came to me 2 years before I started executing it. And the thing is, I wanted to create an online platform or website where actually everyone could access me through therapy or training worldwide, anywhere. And if I travel, because I was living here in Dubai and I wanted to go, I was planning to go to Australia, and it was all an idea, how can I keep connecting with everyone? So I needed to do this. Back then, the idea of teletherapy or online wasn't a big thing until COVID hit and it became a big thing. So for me, this was a spark and I started it. But if I'm going to think about something that I would do differently, maybe from the beginning, I wore all the hats. So this is the common thing that we do as entrepreneur when we start. We wear all the hats and want to do it all. And we feel that no one can do it the same as I want to do it. So I think that's something that I would change and I would seek support from day one.
What is the problem that you were trying to solve, and how was it so personal to you as a founder?
Yeah, sure. So the problem is, maybe I go back to the idea of accessibility. So having people to find me and find them more easily. And second, the passion behind it is because, personally, because I was a therapist, and then my interest in communication skills grew, and I did my master's in more emotional intelligence, verbal, nonverbal. So I expanded all of that. So it grew a lot of passion because that's my vision. That's where I feel like everybody could benefit. I could help everyone. So that was the drive behind it.
What is one moment in your journey that looked so successful to everyone, but behind the curtains or behind the scenes, it was actually very difficult?
I would say it was while I was preparing for the launch. It was a very critical period. I launched my business in October 2020. So before that, we can remember July 2020, when the economical crisis hit Lebanon. So at that time, I was in Australia, even though I wasn't even in Lebanon, but I was hit by it. Of course, these are my people struggling. And while I was building my business, struggling myself because I was in a new country, my shipment didn't arrive from Dubai. It took 5 months to reach, so I didn't have my stuff, nothing. And this is the moment that was very successful, that I launched an initiative to support Lebanon. It was an idea that synchronized with my business because I just asked online one question: is there any therapist who would like to volunteer to help people who cannot afford therapy in Lebanon anymore? And I had 60 therapists worldwide coming, accepting the offer and being part of my team. So now I have to manage a team of 60 therapists we're managing every single demand we have. And you can imagine how much the demand was high, and doing all of that while building my business. So that was like about 16 hours of work daily. I was planted to my seat. It sounded very nice to everyone, but for me, it was very chaotic.
So, of course, while building your business, there were a lot of challenges you had to face, and it's very important to have the support system. So, I would like to ask, what kept you going, and why didn't you give up?
Support system would be my husband, and he's right here. And now we added to the team my daughter, so that's my biggest support system, and I couldn't do anything without them. And what kept me going is my passion, as I said. It's a project that I believe in it. I believe in connectivity. I believe that we should all be able to reach anything at any time and to be able to help each other and create a means to help each other.
How has your definition of success evolved over time?
When you're starting a business, of course, you think that success is by numbers, right? Like you should succeed. But for me, I don't measure success this way at all. Success for me is when I have returning clients 5 years later, 6 years later, contacted me again. That's success. Success for me is being invited today to share my journey. Success for me is every time I see the progress. So, and also the freedom. We talk about time freedom for entrepreneurs. It's not like that we work less, but I have the choice to wake up at 4 a.m. and gain the 3 hours before I start the day to be able to balance motherhood and work. So that's success, having this control over my life.
I think to me, looking at you, success is being a mother.
Of
And
course,
actually,
100.
yes, of course, and building this successful platform. And not just taking care of your family, but being able to take care of other people and yourself at the same time. So very proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Another question would be, what does resilience mean to you today?
I'm mentioning Lebanon a lot today, but it's in my blood. I think we have it in our blood. It's a collective resilience because we've watched each other going through it, even if we didn't live things. Even growing up, seeing our parents and everyone practicing that create this environmental factor of having a built-in resilience. And for me, resilience now is not an option. It's not like I'm going to see. It's whatever I start doing, resilience is an option because I know whatever project we're going to do, there will be a storm, there will be a problem, and challenge is not an option. It's like, it's there. We need to be ready. We need to be ready for resilience.
What is one story that you feel like happened to you during your journey that you still carry with you every single day?
One story.
It doesn't have to be a story, a moment. It can be a moment of success. It can be a moment of failure. What is something that you carry or something that affected you till today and how you work with your business?
Maybe here it was a bit of clarity because I built everything in Australia. And when I returned here, I had to restart. I thought it's going to be easy to just transfer things, but it wasn't the case because here it hit me again. Even though I was living here, but I understood how much culture adaptation I need to do, how much change I need to make, how the system would work differently. So yeah, I would say that when I had to make this change, it was hard and I'm still adapting until now.
In your journey, I'm sure you came across many conversations, internally, externally. How do you handle conflict as a person or difficult conversations in general?
All right, we go through this a lot, of course. For me, conflict management used to carry one aspect, and now I learned that it carries two. First, I was always applying in my years empathy. So I would think, okay, I understand the other person, I understand their perspective. I try to get out of myself and see their point of view and all of that. But I could see if you practice only that, you will have to accommodate. You'll be the one who needs to step back and they will take whatever they need because now they feel relaxed. You hear them. So the element that I added, and which I learned in my studies as well, assertiveness. So now I'm very assertive. I set my boundaries. Yes, I hear you. I'm still practicing empathy. I hear the other person, everything, but I'm very specific with my boundaries, with my demands as well.
Why do you think it's very important to build these boundaries between you and the other person or the other situation?
Because as I said, I learned it the hard way that people would take advantage of you. So it's very easy for you to find yourself stepping back and losing your control or using your whatever you need to achieve. So that's why I learned that it's very important to set our boundaries. And there's something I always say, if you don't say no to others, you're saying no to yourself. And we don't want to hurt ourselves. So let's be connected with ourselves to be relaxed as well, because otherwise we're going to be in the victim mode that I'm always taking advantage of.
Before I move on to the next question, does anyone in the audience have a question they want to pop up or ask? No? I just want to talk to you about a situation that happened to me since we're talking about boundaries.
Yeah.
I was with a colleague the other day and I received continuous phone calls and I'm just like, I'm so tired. She's like, listen, you don't control who calls you, but you control who you answer. And I think that's the importance of setting a boundary between you and the situation, because if you don't, you become so selfless and in the process you start losing yourself.
Right.
I think my last question would be, what advice would you give the audience today?
That would resonate with the workshop I just gave. Adaptability, be flexible, be really flexible, because when you set a plan A, definitely you'll get to a point where you need to do plan B, plan C, or even change the whole goal, change the idea, change. So it doesn't matter the idea or the business itself, what matters is you. So the second advice would be invest in yourself, educate yourself, empower yourself. So whatever changes in the outside, you're able to accommodate it. And third thing, definitely after I shared, culture adaptation is very important. We should always know our audience, who we are working for, and what are their demands.
If you could give us three important traits a founder should have today, or something that they could carry with them, what would they be?
I would say resilience first thing first, adaptability. You need to be brave. I think that's very important, to be brave. You cannot approach your business or your idea with doubt and I'm not sure I can do it. So the first thing, be brave, be ready for change, and build routine that you are comfortable with so you can endure, because sometimes we push our limits and we get to a point where we're too tired. So maybe try to create a lifestyle that matches our business so we can take it to the long road.
What would you say, what makes your business unique in your eyes?
First is the combination that I created in my studies, because that's a unique combination. No one else did it. So I'm proud of the mixture that I made. That makes it very unique. And second, that I have a broad interest in people in general. So I'm not strict to a language or to a culture or to a community. So I think that makes things different. I'm open. I'm ready to work with everyone. And I adapt my work to everyone, children or adults or communities. And I have my daughter with me to inspire her. She's here to support me, actually. She's giving me the best support.
Talking about support, why do you think it's very important to have a very supportive support system around you while building a business?
Because even if you feel that you are strong, we all have our weak moments, especially if it hits us hard, like if a big failure happens financially, or you have an idea you're so passionate about and it stops, a project that stops, you lose a client. So it could be anything that's very hard. So if sometimes we can adapt alone and sometimes we don't. So this is where the support system comes in to give you the wake-up call, like you can do it, because they see you, they know your potential, and they can push you forward.
Thank you, Vanessa. Does anyone have questions? No. Thank you.
Thank you. So I did it first, actually, I started it through, I already had a page on Instagram, so I already have my community and people who know me here. And this is where I started advertising. And then people started like telling each other. So I didn't really make a big marketing campaign. So I started it slow. And honestly, for myself, I always kept it small to accommodate my time, because I know my limits. So I didn't want to expand things more than what I can. And I prefer to expand my team before I expand the demand. Because if you get a lot of demand and you cannot approach it, people will go and look for someone else. This is what happens in the flow.
Your daughter has a question.
Go ahead. What? How did I learn it? Actually, along the way, I didn't know any of this. So I kept on learning, whether with my studies, whether by watching other people. Like, this is how I learned. I'm always a student. That's why I say I'm a lifelong student. I'm always learning.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. And thank you
you
for being here. And thank you for sharing your successful story.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And of course, thank you to the audience for being with us here today.
Thank you so much.